As you take a deep breath, just really feel your body. Feel totally relaxed. Connect with your breath. Connect with every cell in your body. And now, as usual, we go to a place where you feel very, very comfortable. And this time, let's make it a beach. So envision your favorite beach in the whole wide world. And see yourself on that beach, just totally relaxed. The sun hasn't even arisen yet. It's just starting to peep over the horizon. And everything is so calm and so delightful. And then all of a sudden, the scene shifts. And you realize that you're not alone on that beach anymore. In fact, you're in the middle of a triathlon that's just starting, and you're in it. And you find yourself running with your wave of 200 people into the water, splashing and kicking, and all of a sudden your solitude is just totally shattered because this is crazy. And as you feel that stinginess of the cold water, and as you run, you find that you can't run anymore and you have to dive straight into it, and it hits you like incredible, and you think, what am I doing here? And you find that that's not the only thing that hits you, that actually you're getting kicked by people around you, you're getting elbows, and everything in your world is just totally in chaos. And panic sets in, and doubts. This is crazy. What am I doing here? How did I get here? Am I ready for it? Am I trained? Am I strong enough? And after those first harrowing minutes, you realize, wait a minute, I must have chosen this. And you go within and start to focus on your breath. Start to focus on your nice stroke. And you start to trust your training. And pretty soon it starts to feel like, oh, it's almost like a flow. This isn't so bad after all. And then when you look up, you realize, uh-oh, I'm going off direction. I can barely see the buoy I'm heading towards. And you correct. But that moment of insecurity passes and you're back in your flow. And then suddenly someone kicks you and knocks off your goggles, and that creates another panic where you have to dog paddle and put it back on and somehow get restarted. And just as you're back in your flow, someone from the group that started 3 minutes behind you passes you. And all of a sudden your doubts, wow, someone's so much better than I am. I must be horrible. But each time you come back into your breath and you return inside, connect with yourself and your own knowing. And each time you do, that allows you to get back into the flow. Until finally it seems like this is almost fun. I'm enjoying this. And then as you realize that it's almost over, you're ready to come out, and then the fear hits you again. Uh-oh, I've still got to jump on the bike, and then I have to run, and oh my gosh, have I wasted too much of my energy? The doubt starts to come in again, and as you run off the beach, run out of the water and run off the beach, you suddenly realize, wait a minute, I'm in a relay. I've done my job. And you pass the timekeeper on your ankle that serves as a baton on to the next person. And you do it with such gratitude. Wow, that was challenging. That was tough, but I made it through. I handled all the challenges that came my way, and I regained my equilibrium. I regained my flow each time. And now, as you stand there watching the sun come up, you feel in your heart that sense of accomplishment. You've taken on a challenge that maybe was over your head, and yet you went within to discover your strength, to discover your sense of balance and equilibrium. And now you're enjoying connecting with that universal energy of the sun as it reflects back the energy that you've put out. And as you get recharged and re-energized by connecting with the sun, you realize, wow, there's an amazing thing going on here. And so you run out and spend the next 2 hours just cheering on everyone else, knowing that they're going through struggles as well, knowing that they're facing their own demons, having their own doubts. And you know that if you can just share your energy with them and encourage them, that might make the difference in them being able to overcome what they're dealing with. And you're in such joy, such energy, such vitality. And finally, you go to the finish line and you just start to hug every person as they come across the line. And soon it's just one big massive hug fest of everyone sharing their life with each other. Everyone's joining in. Even the dogs are excited. They're barking and wanting. And everyone is just in such incredible spirits because they've faced their fears. They've taken on challenges. They've moved past their barriers that they thought were their limitations. And together, everyone has achieved their dream. Just take a moment and feel what it's like. Feel your light, feel your love. And as we're in this state, let's give a thought to Elsie, who is not able to be with us this morning because she's in the hospital, and send some loving energy her way. Knowing how powerful that energy is, how wonderful it is when a group comes together for a common purpose, a common dream. And as we take one more deep breath together, and we rejoin each other on the call, knowing that we're here for a purpose, knowing that our dream is bigger than just ourselves, knowing that our dream is encompassing the future of our entire planet, and that our goal of improving ourselves and raising our vitality is not just for our own benefit, but it's also to give us that energy and courage and persistence to truly make a difference in our world and really play our role to the maximum, our role of bringing in this beautiful world that we know we're in the process of birthing. So if we can come back to our physical space and open our eyes again, rejoin and start to move on. So let's just go with the question now of connecting with our inner wisdom. So meditation is one way of doing that. What are some other ways that you connect to your inner wisdom? Just throw out some ideas, throw out what you like to do.
When I breathe consciously.
Okay, connecting to your consciously to your breath. All right.
Yes, I'm just reminding myself that this might help me, and then I do it, and it's great. I feel my inner body then, and I feel connected. It helps immediately.
Yeah, that's one of the quickest ways to change your state is just that conscious breath. Right? Thank you. Who else?
One of the things that I'm learning a lot from my clients and also some of my mentors is listening to my body.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the body's always giving us signals, but I haven't always been very good at listening,
mm-hmm.
or determining what the signals are saying. And so it gives us, when we really can tune and listen, you get a lot, like whether it's just something in your gut that's telling you something's off, and what does that mean? And yes, so just all of the signs that our body gives us.
Yeah, especially for us male of the species, it's we have
more of a challenge.
We have not been instructed or taught or encouraged to really listen to our body. It's like push through, do whatever, and instead of really listening. Great. What other ways?
I find reading something inspiring is helpful to reconnect to your wisdom, so to speak. Sort of a reminder, or refocusing your attention or something.
Yeah. Just bringing in uplifting messages, whether it's reading, whether it's watching a video or a movie, or watching something on YouTube that's uplifting, and just tuning in to that knowledge that's out there is amazing.
I find sometimes if I do journaling, but I have to get past a certain point where I get all of the head stuff out, and then all of the heart stuff comes in. Yeah,
great. Yeah, journaling is an awesome thing, and we're going to share a way to sort of bypass the mind when you're journaling. So we'll share that in a few minutes here.
I would say for me, when I get really all knotted up, going into gratitude and really acknowledging the blessings in my life, as opposed to focusing on all of the stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Will really bring me back to center and quiet me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Again, getting back in touch with who you really are and what your values are versus getting thrown off by the craziness you might see outside. And just being grateful where we are. Beautiful. Any others you'd like to share?
Yeah, this is Shaw. One of the ways, probably the only way that I find centers me, is to place myself as an element of the natural world, all the systems that are life that aren't human, to gain a sense of perspective and to balance and center into that larger context is really helpful.
Yeah. How many of you find that when you connect and you're out in the natural world, how you just start, it's so clear, you're connecting with who you really are as part of the bigger whole versus being in a box of separation.
I'll go for a lot of walks. I watch birds and animals, and they actually give me messages. So I watch them very closely, especially birds.
Yeah.
Because they are sort of the novel dinosaurs, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they've been here for a long time.
Yeah. Your kingfisher talks to And that, yeah, a lot of us have that sense that we are being guided. So spirit guides come through in many forms. So it could be through animals that are giving you messages. It could be hugging trees. There's so many ways that we get that knowledge from higher sources there. And I think all of those have a role. So I'm just going to share a couple more here that I've got down here. One is Akashic Records, of connecting with the Akashic Records. And I'll just throw that out. We're not going to go into it, but for a lot of people, that's a great way to, again, sometimes we feel like we go outside ourselves to get information, but we really should realize that it's inside us too. And that's what we really want to see, is that it's really us in so many ways, but many times it helps to sort of feel like we're accessing from outside. And then the one thing I want to share today is accessing your own body's knowledge, the wisdom that's in it, to actually make choices. And the one that's really helped me over the years is muscle testing. How many of you are familiar with or have used muscle testing in some way? Okay, so we'll go through this fairly quickly. Some of it may be a little bit new to you, some may not, but there are basically 4 ways that we know of to do muscle testing. And muscle testing, it's called kinesiology, and it's basically the concept that your body knows. At the cellular level, your body knows the answer. And so you just ask it, and if it's a positive, you're strong. If it's a negative, you go weak. And so the first one that we use, and I'll share the screen in a second, is what we call the arm lever. And this is where you just put your arm out, and this one requires 2 people. So there are pluses and minuses to all of these. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put on my share screen. Actually, Kathy's coming down, so we won't share the screen yet. So here's the way this works. And we use this a lot for a lot of our choices in life. So I would put it out, and then you always want to test it first. So the way we test it is with my name. So my name is Ted, and I'm going to be strong. If I say my name is George, no matter how much I try to resist, there's no way. My name is George. And it's an amazing process so we use it for books. So for example, we go into bookstores and we'll feel the energy, and we'll come out with like 10 books. And then we'll go through and say, okay, I should buy this book. Okay, I'll take that one. Okay, I should buy this book. No, okay, it goes back on the shelf. And it just makes it so clear in terms of how to make choices.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Anna. So that's the arm lever. And I'll go ahead and start our share screen. It should go. Come on, baby. So the arm lever method, it's easy to learn, and it's very, very positive. You really know what's there. The problem is it requires 2 people. And so that's the difficulty of it. Plus, after a while, your arm gets tired. So no matter how much you want to keep it up there, it falls down. So the other 3 are ones that you don't require another person. So how many of you have used pendulums? So for a lot of people, the pendulum is a great way to use as an individual. And again, it doesn't require someone else, but it really gives a clear result, and they're pretty cheap. But you have to get used to the pendulum, right? And so normally you would start out by saying, pendulum, show me a yes, show me a no, to find out what it's going back and forth. Some of them go clockwise for a yes, and counterclockwise for a no. And so the pendulum, unfortunately, can be influenced by other energies. So if you're in a group, or if you're in an area where the energies are or sort of pulling, it can pull you back. And people say, well, but my thoughts are going to influence the pendulum. Yeah, that's the whole point, is the pendulum is actually taking your body's thoughts and putting it into a form that you can say, this is yes or no. The next one is the finger ring method. And this one is holding both fingers together. Can you see that? I can't, I've got my screen share, but anyway, let me go out of screen share just for a second.
We see it.
You got it? So you're here and you hold tight and you say, my name is Ted, and you try to pull away. And then you say, my name is George, and you try to pull away and still keep it tight, and there's no way. So again, if the answer to whatever you ask is yes, then you're strong. If the answer is no, you become weak. Now this one has a few, the beauty of it is you can use it anywhere. And it's pretty, it's not like being in the bookstore and doing this guy, it's pretty subtle. You can do it just about any time without taking any, drawing attention to yourself. The challenge is for most of us, it's easy to cheat. It's easy to pretend that we're really feeling strong when we're not. So that's one of to me, the biggest disadvantage of that is that it's not quite as easy to be accurate. And finally, and this is one we're going to play around with, is the standing lean method. So the way this one works is you stand up, and let's just do this. Let's all get up. It's time for a little break here. So everybody stand up. Let's do it. Just move around. In fact, let's do one of our little exercises right now. Let's just do where we're going to go up and back down. So up on the toes, lift up, get the energy flowing, get our blood going. We've been here more than 25 minutes, so we deserve a break. We need to get the blood flowing here. And then let's just do some real quick shoulder turns. Okay, that feels good, huh? Good. Now, the way the stand and lean method works is that you basically stand with your feet pointing forward. You don't want to have your feet pointing out, or that sort of disbalances you. And the feet are about shoulder width apart, very comfortable. Get into your great posture, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And now you just ask yourself a question. So let's start again with our name. My name is Ted. I'm going to just imperceptibly almost lean forward onto the balls of my feet. I come back to center. My name is George. And I almost automatically have to go back. It's crazy the way that works. Okay, so just try it yourself. Say your name. My name is, and then see which way you go. And then say a name that's not yours and feel what happens. Is everybody feeling that? It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Cool.
And so you can use that method as a way of testing just about anything. So I was introduced to this method by a fellow named Brent Phillips, who does theta healing. And he's got a whole protocol of removing blocks. So for example, he'll go through a whole series that says, I have to be sick to feel compassion. And if you say yes to that, then he clears it. And then you test it again, and then it says a no. And it's a whole protocol to go through that whole process. And so just having access to your own body's wisdom is an incredible way to make choices. So whichever one of those you choose, the good thing about that is, again, you can use it just about anywhere. It's you know, unless you're in a wheelchair, unless you can't stand up, then it's pretty accurate once you tap in. It is something that you have to sort of clear yourself first. It's tough to do probably if you're in the middle of Macy's or something and trying to decide on whether to buy something, but who knows, it might work. But all of those methods are simply ways of you accessing your own wisdom. And it's always important that it's a yes or no question. Or like Shah and I had an experience with a woman named Sue Myers, and she had it down into a way that she could discover your past lives. So it's like, okay, you've got this issue. Is it this life? No. Is it a past life? Yes. Is it 10 lives ago? No. Is it more than 10? Yes. And it was just an amazing process to just go back and back and back until you actually found exactly what it is, and then you could clear it. So there are all kinds of ways to use this. We'll talk about it a little bit more as we go. But let's move on because I'm getting behind as usual. Let's go real quick to our superfood. Let's hop into nutrition. Any questions about those processes?
It's great.
I'll be sending you the pluses and minuses of all of them on the PowerPoint, so we'll share that with you. So no need to get all those down. We're going to go real quick through our superfood. And as I study superfoods, and this is one that I haven't used a lot myself, but I've heard of it. In every list you find of 10 superfoods, always is the acai berry. And so just real quick, we're going to go through and suggest that it's one of those things that you consider. And here's what it really does. Simple benefits: clear skin, weight loss. And again, we know it's from the rainforest of Brazil. Great antioxidant. So it boosts and strengthens the immune system. You can see all the benefits here. So basically, helps give a healthy heart, healthy skin, fights cancer, aids in weight loss, anti-aging, improves cellular health, improves mental health, improves digestion, energy boost, mental health, and also, as you can see here, it's been called the natural Viagra. So it helps increase libido. So again, this is what a superfood is all about. It's one of those things that if you add it into your diet, it just handles so many things. And so much of it is anti-aging, and so much of it is that things that really are antioxidants. And that's really the key. Anytime you can find an antioxidant, it's really an important thing. So acai, go for it. Give it a shot if you can, and we'd love to hear your results if you do go for that. Welcome, Shar. Glad you could join us here. I know we can't see you, but we know you're here. Next on our agenda is vitamins and minerals, and this is such a huge element. I'm not going to go into it at all. However, this system also works. So for example, if you said, okay, I need to take more vitamin D. Yes, no. Real simple way to determine what you need. Or let's say you've got a particular brand of vitamin that you've been taking and you want to know whether it still is helpful or not. Just sort of hold it up and sort of in your heart and yes or no. Or again, do the leaning. This is good for me. Yes. This is bad. This is not positive for me. So again, that muscle testing is a great way for you to self-prescribe what you need. So instead of having to just read everything and try every vitamin, it's just, okay, what do I need? What is my body needing now? Now, there is one vitamin that is the universal vitamin. It's the one that everybody needs. It's the one that we can't really do without. And that is one you may not have heard of. It's called vitamin L.
Love.
It's the love vitamin. Okay. So I'm going to share it with you in the PowerPoint. You'll get this. It's a fun thing. I'm just going to go through it very, very quickly here. But it came from one of the in my nutrition course. So vitamin L is the most important nutrient in all human relations, domestic to international. We should definitely put it in the drinking supply. Okay? Fear, one of the most difficult problems to treat, usually requires mega doses of vitamin L, as does greed. And we know that there are rarely any serious problems from excess intake of vitamin L. But the side effects may include swooning, a strange feeling in the center of the chest, goosebumps, and staring blankly into space. And of course, deficiencies cause all kinds of problems. Abrupt withdrawal from regular vitamin L use could be hazardous, as a love vitamin is terribly addicting. And the minimum suggested dose is 4 hugs per day to maintain health. However, the International Hug Association has changed its guidelines to suggest that a minimum of 4 hugs daily is needed to prevent vitamin L deficiency, 6 hugs a day for maintenance, and 10 hugs per day for growth. So that's vitamin L. And you can read the full thing for it when I send you the information. But I just love the idea of vitamin L being the essential ingredient in our lives. And the more that the beautiful thing about vitamin L is it's self-generating, right? And you'll read on here, it says that the great source of vitamins are parents and especially grandparents, and goes on and on. It's really a fun little thing. And I love sharing it with people because it really is such an important part of who we are and what we're doing in life. So that's vitamin L. Our nutrition commitment for this week. I just want to encourage you to go through some of the vitamins and things that you've been using and test and see what works. And then try the acai berry if you want and increase your dose of vitamin L. That's the important thing. So we're going to move real quick to exercise. There's a couple of things here. I'm going to introduce one breath style that's really, really simple, and it's only for exercise. And it's called the Darth Vader breath. And that's because of the sound that it makes. So this is from John Douillard, who I got a lot of my information for Ayurveda. And I credit John Douillard for being the reason that I got into running and triathlon, because he taught me how to nose breathe. And the Darth Vader breath is what really helps you nose breathe when you're exercising. So this isn't something you would use on a regular basis. Otherwise, people would think you're a little crazy. But when you're exercising, it really helps you stay nose breathing. And all it is just breathing in through the nose. And then as you breathe out, you're making almost that Darth Vader sound. So you're feeling it almost forcing down. So just give it a try. Just see if you can make that noise, breathing through the nose. Again, it should be coming from the diaphragm, but it's really forcing it out with the diaphragm so it creates that noise. Did you feel it? So what he had us do, and this was in Maui in 1995, is he had us walk around on a hill and go as fast as we could go until we could no longer mouth breathe. And as soon as we had to go with our nose breathe, as soon as we had to open our mouth, then we slowed down until we could nose breathe again. And just doing that process, how much can I do until I have to mouth breathe, and then move back. If you don't want to do it walking, another great way to do it is just doing what we call if you're inside, it's just doing this guy. And this is another great way to see how long can I go before I have to take a mouth breath, and then slow it down and go back to mouth breathing. And the mouth breathing is so valuable in terms of you being able to maintain your energy and stay relaxed, even when you're in the most challenging of situations physically. So the Darth Vader breath will help you start that process. You don't have to keep it up the whole time, but just it helps you really get that exercise energy and keep you going with that nose breathing. So we're going to move on to our exercises for this week. And this week I thought that one of the key elements as we move on in our journey is posture. And it's something that I've been challenged with my whole life. I didn't have parents that were like sticking the broomstick on my back and forcing me to walk with books on my head and those kind of things. And I spent most of my career as a tennis coach where I'm picking up tennis balls, looking down and picking up tennis balls. And so I developed what we call forward head posture. And that's a tendency that many of us have, which is to have our head sort of leaning forward. And nowadays with the texting and everything, it's even more pronounced. And basically for every 1 inch that your head moves forward from where the natural position is above your shoulders, adds about 10 or 12 pounds of weight. And so it's almost like carrying around an extra 20, 25 pounds, putting all that pressure on your neck and your shoulders. And especially those of us who spend a lot of time at computers, you know, we get into that computer mode. So I felt like it's really important for us to have that feeling of great posture, especially as we say, okay, how do I make sure that I maintain my vitality no matter what age I am, no matter what I'm going through? So much of your vitality is how well your lungs work, how well everything is in alignment. And as we talk about alignment, we talk about spiritual alignment, but also we want to talk about our physical alignment so that this vehicle works as well as possible. So I'm going to share the video with you right now. And we'll do our exercise for today. Hi, this week's exercise is going to focus on posture. We all know how important posture is. In fact, what happens to most of us as we get along in age is we tend to have what's called the forward head posture. And for every inch that your head moves forward like that, rather than its normal place, it adds about 10 pounds of weight. And that puts tremendous pressure on all the neck and all the muscles here. So the little exercises we're going to do now are going to be to help that improve your posture. And all of these should be done very gently, very smoothly. So the first one, you should join in on these, okay? Make sure your sitting posture. Let's go ahead and do these. These are simple things you can do as we're going through the video. And just do it in your chair. Some of them are in the chair. And then just try it on your own right now. Do it with me. Is as good as possible. So a lot of times, most of us are here at our computers and we're in this kind of a posture. And so what we want to do is think, okay, I'm going to tilt here so my back is straighter. Then make sure your back is straight here. Straighten the neck, the head back, and make sure the chin is down. We don't want to bring the neck back here. So now your posture is a very comfortable sitting posture. So that's the first step. Then we can do a couple of things. One is to place your hands here and put them back as far as you can. Don't have them here, but push them back. And then we do a couple of very simple movements from here. The first one is just to lean back slightly. And this is not with the lower back. It's not that we're trying to do that. It's just the upper back, just slightly. Very simple. And usually all of these you do for 5 seconds, 5 times. The next one would be to move and just tilt slightly. And these are just slightly getting these muscles here in your neck. Just a simple little stretch. Very, very easy. And the final one in this series is just to slightly move from side to side. Again, it's for the upper back Very slight. You should never feel any real pain, but just a slight pull. Another one is that to grab a hold of your chair, keep the shoulder down, and then just look down at the opposite pocket. I'll do it with my right hand here so you can see a little bit better. So I'm looking at the pocket. And then you can also lean up just slightly from there, looking more towards the ceiling, and that gets a slightly different angle as well. And as you're doing this, you can see I started to slip forward, so make sure you keep that good posture that we started out with from the very beginning. And now I'm going to get up, and we'll go to one more in this series, and that's what we call the wall plank. So you want to have the feet about shoulder width apart, not too wide, and be a full arm's length from the wall. And make sure, like right now, my hands are too high. So the hands should be slightly lower than the shoulders. And then from here, you just go forward against the forearms and just stay here. This is a plank just like you do a plank on the ground, but now it's actually against the wall. And again, you hold this for 5 seconds, pull back, rest for a second, and then come back in. This just really helps. You can see what I did there. From here, you want to go down so that the shoulders are actually going back far enough to get that little bit of a stretch, which is really what you want. And then the final one we're going to do here is one that you can do just about any time, anywhere. It's one of those perfect ones when you're in your 25-5 and you get up from your desk. Is to do what we call prisoner squats. So a normal squat would be here. What the prisoner squat does is you interlace the hands, bring the elbows back as far as possible, and that squeezes these back muscles. And that's why it helps your posture. And then it's just down and up. And you can do this as much as you want. And this is a great way to improve your posture while you're still getting the great strength exercise here. So any exercise that you're doing, whether you can do lunges like that, anytime you put your hands back like this and pull it back, that really helps that posture. And that's what you really want to develop, is that great posture where you open your lungs out and make sure your heart's easier. Everything that you do is so much easier when you've got great posture. So did that make sense for you? All of those are real subtle. They're not big movements, especially the neck muscles. The other thing you can do is just massage your neck muscles here. Just little circular, just work your way down. Very simple, very light. But again, our neck and everything is so, and then right back in here, the back of the neck. Just little circles moving down. You never want to stay too long in any one place or it puts too much pressure on. But again, the whole neck area and back, upper back is so important in terms of keeping our alignment and making sure that we are not holding the tension, right? That's where we hold a lot of our tension, is right in here. So if we can do just a few of these little exercises, it'll make a huge difference. And then just the awareness of our posture and again, the alignment. So we won't go through the other exercises, but what I'd like for you to do is just, again, always feel free to bring in the other exercises that we've done in the past. Don't just forget everything, but just go back and review once in a while some of the other exercises. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to our spiritual. I alluded a little bit to the Sue Myers thing of kinesiology can be used for your spiritual development. Her Breakthrough Institute was, again, my breakthrough. That's when I actually had my breakthrough in terms of bringing through messages and all, which I'll mention in a minute. But her process of using this to discover who you are in this realm, in past lives, in everything is just, it was an amazing experience for me. And again, just that using kinesiology in whichever way you use it, and whichever way you use the muscle testing, just get in the habit of asking yourself questions. And one of the ways it's been used spiritually, there's a guy named David Hawkins. He wrote a book called Power versus Force. How many of you have had experience with David Hawkins and his work? So what he did is he came up with a scale, which he called a spiritual scale. And it went from 0 to 1,000. And basically he would just test. And so it'd be something like, okay, George Bush resonates at 100 or below. No. George Bush resonates at 200 or above. No. George Bush resonates at above 150. Yes. George Bush resonates at above 175. No. And so pretty soon you get to George Bush resonates at, 165 or whatever. And he does that with countries. He does that with individuals, past or present. And it was just an amazing thing that he came up with that says basically anything below 200 is sort of a negative and anything above is in the positive. And what was really amazing is, love starts at about 540, as I recall, or something like that. And then what was really amazing was he said that as you get up into the 600s, that's getting into, enlightenment realm with, Jesus, Buddha, and those guys are at 1,000. Dalai Lama's probably, who knows, 700, 800, something like that. But the beauty of it is he said that one individual at X level, say 640 or something, can raise and counteract the energy of, say, 1 million people resonating at below 200. And so it goes back to what we know is that one individual bringing in light is able to counteract the darkness of so many people. And that's how we're going to achieve that tipping point where once it doesn't take the whole world, it just takes this percentage. People have said between 1 and 10% of people really becoming awake can then shift the whole energy of the world. So I love what his work is. If you're not familiar with it, it's worth checking out. David Hawkins, Power versus Force is his main book. But again, it just shows how using the muscle testing protocol can do some amazing things. So don't limit it to just your vitamins. Don't limit it to just what you should eat. Feel free to use that and use it for many things to really enhance your life and help you really raise that frequency. Does anybody want to share anything about your knowledge of David Hawkins and his work?
It's a big part of what Michael Wolff does in Scotland. His main primary tool for exactly what you're saying, raising and he's basically looking for 200 people to raise to 700 and above, and knowing that will affect like 200 million people. So
wow, yeah, it is amazing how many ways that people have used the whole muscle testing protocol to develop amazing tools for ascension. Really, that's a great one to use. And finally, I want to share one final element that, again, I learned this from Sue Myers, and when you talked about journaling and the importance of journaling and how difficult it is to get past your conscious mind, what Sue had us do was journal with our non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, you write left-handed. And you get into a meditative state, you get really clear, and it's sort of a meditative state first, and then you just pick up your pen and just see what comes. It may be nothing at first. You may have to try it a couple of times, but just trust that there might be something quite amazing coming out. Now, I had a big problem because I can't even read my writing with my right hand, what to speak of my left hand. So when I first started doing it, I was coming out with this incredible stuff, and it's like, I don't know what I said. I have no clue. It felt like it was pretty amazing. And it took me about 3 months of asking can I go to the keyboard? And finally, when they said go to the keyboard, then I started being able to just type it out. And that was the start of the messages, really, was from the non-dominant hand writing. And I know Shaw and I have talked, and that she obviously had that same experience with Sue way back. And that was our original connection through the messages. And she had given it up for the last couple of years. And so starting this class, she just started to reuse it. And it's done some amazing things for her, right, Shah? So what I'd love for you to try as part of our spiritual commitment this week, and this is one that I would love for us all to try, just because it is such a profound, it's had such a profound influence on my life. I would not be connected to any one of you here if I had not done this process during Breakthrough Institute. Just try it. Just try non-dominant handwriting. We won't do it right now because you need the quiet space, but just take some time, have a pen and paper, and just start going with your opposite hand and see what comes out. And if something that you want to share comes out, feel free to send it to me. You can either scan it if it's relatively readable. If not, type it out and, get it into a format that other people can read. And a lot of times it's good to do that fairly quickly, because if you come back a week later, you probably won't have any way of really reading it or remembering what it was. But it really is one of those, could be one of those life-changing experiences for you in terms of opening you up spiritually to your inner connection and really understanding and not just your inner connection, but a lot of times it connects you to the higher source, the higher you, your higher self that's connected to all wisdom. And really that's what we're here for. And that's what the real focus on today is connecting to your inner wisdom, which really is the higher wisdom of the universe. And if we think about what our big dream is, it really is to connect to the universe in general, connect to everyone and everything, and really feel that oneness, and then help share that with others, help bring our light into the world in such a powerful way that everything we're doing is to have the vitality, have the energy, have the enthusiasm, so that we are able to go out there and shine our light in the world as brightly and as consistently and as lovingly as we possibly can. So we're all here to share our vitamin L with as many people as we can. So let me just share the screen real quick. I want to just a real quick recap. Here are some of the suggestions for this week. Nutrition, using muscle testing to determine what vitamins and minerals you should continue to take or perhaps discontinue. For exercise, just try some of these posture exercises and maybe try the Darth Vader breathing. And then for the spiritual, the main thing is a non-dominant hand. And again, these are suggestions. You can feel free to draw in any of the commitments you've made in the past and reaffirm those. Again, these are commitments to yourself. And I'd love to hear how you're doing with them. And finally, if anybody would like to share anything right now before we leave.
I wanted to add one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Because you were talking about how to tap into our inner wisdom. And then right after talking about it being through my body that I'm learning this, that you share all of these tools to connect with our body. And as you were sharing it, everyone else was sharing it, it added to this other thing, which is seeing my inner wisdom through the people that I surround myself with, and being a part of a community like this. That they say that you are a reflection of the 5 people you spend the most time around. Yeah. And being in a community like this, or even just having somebody one-on-one where you can talk on this level. Everybody here is of an elevated consciousness, and we reflect each other. So everything that you shared today just reminded me that. And, so I just wanted to emphasize the importance of being here together and raising our consciousness so we can raise the planet consciousness.
Thank you so much, Mark. Yes, so true, is that this is the real purpose. It's not just that we're individuals trying to raise ourselves up, but we're doing it in community. We're helping each other in so many ways so that together our group energy can raise that elevate everyone's life and elevate the whole world in their consciousness levels. So thank you, Mark. Thank all of you for being with us
Can
today.
I add one thing? Can we just do, I know we did a little bit during earlier on, but can we just do a very specific prayer for, or light meditation for Elsie?
Yes, I'd love that. Okay, yeah. And as we do that, I'm going to put the final one up there, which is have a week filled with vitamin L. So let's just take a second here. Thank you, Shah, for that reminder that we all really are connected and we all are part of a loving community. And Elsie is a big part of that. This is the only call she's missed, and we know why. And yet she's here in spirit, and we want to be with her in spirit. So let's just, as we connect with our breath, just open our hearts and just send a big blast of vitamin L to Elsie. We know it's the most healing power that exists. And we know that even though Elsie is so healthy and vibrant in her spirit, that her body is undergoing some challenges, some clearing. And it's our intention to support and assist her in that clearing. So that she can recover from whatever is limiting her physically right now. So she can rejoin us, not just for next week's call, but rejoin us with the strength and power and love that she has to share with the world. And now with gratitude for Elsie being in our lives, gratitude for all that she brings to the world, and gratitude for our ability to share with her and with each other our love, our energy, and our dream for a world where all there is love. Thank you all so much. It's such a joy and such a pleasure and it's such an honor to be with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we look forward to seeing you again next Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you. Much love.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.